Wanted to talk a little bit about the Officer Potter, Dante Wright case. And I think there's some very important things to understand and know about this case. All right. This officer made a mistake. And that mistake that she made wasn't necessarily in what happened, but the mistake she made was over the course of her career, not training enough with her utility belt, with her battle belt, and with the tools on that belt. Not knowing that she was grabbing her service weapon, right? Her firearm, instead of grabbing her taser that she thought she was going for. You know, she's carrying it strong side. That means if she's a right-handed shooter, both her service weapon and her taser are on the right-hand side, right? Versus drawing with weak side, having a taser on one side and a firearm on the other side. Even if you have it both strong side, you have to know what it is that you're grabbing. You have to train. And this is what I find almost disturbing when we talk about new shooters, right? People who just now are starting to get into firearms. They've maybe bought their first firearm, or even if you bought a firearm and shit, you've had a firearm for many years. The question to you is, how often are you training with it? And are you training the right way? Did you go to some classes and then took that to the range? And are you constantly training to get that muscle memory and get those tools solidified in your muscle memory, right? In your body and in your mind. I think that's the most important thing on this. It doesn't matter whether you're in law enforcement or the military. One of the things I will say about the military is they beat this shit into you. You train and train and train and train and train to the point where you're like, geez, God, man, this enough? How many fucking times I got to do this? But what they're trying to do, though, guys, is get that into your subconscious where it becomes instinctual, right? You know that when you're reaching back here, you're grabbing a knife instead of grabbing your secondary weapon. Or if you're, changing a magazine, you change a magazine, change a magazine, change a magazine. Guys, if you've done it 100 times, you need to do it 1,000. If you've done it 1,000 times, you need to do it 10,000 times. If you've done it 10,000 times, you need to do it 100,000 times. You cannot underestimate, how many times you need to practice something in order to be proficient at it. I practice with that belt all the time. I practice with it at the range. I practice with it at home. I don't know if you guys know, but I don't know how many of you guys are doing this. When I'm at home, I take a day off. My wife's not home. And even sometimes when she is, I just don't want to scare the shit out of her. But I'm practicing clearing. I'm practicing with my weapon, drawing my weapon, reloading my weapon. I'm practicing all the time. And you don't have to do that with live ammunition. You can do it with snap caps if you want to have something in it, racking the weapon, right? You want to use snap caps, loading magazines, changing out magazines, right? Dropping a magazine. You have to be proficient with the tools that you intend to use. I cannot stress that enough. And that was the one thing that stuck out into my mind when I was watching this case. It was a tragic accident. She had a split second to make a decision. She made a decision. But if she would have practiced grabbing her taser over her firearm, right? Taking one notch back on the holster, right? Or on the belt. Going one more step back, feeling where her firearm is and then moving back one. If she would have done that repeatedly instead of just getting up in the morning, putting the belt on and going to work, if she would have took more time at the range, if the departments would just continue to practice those scenarios and then put people in pressure situations. They have these ranges. They have these ranges now where they have lasers on guns, on firearms. Sidearms that they use, put them in stressful situations. You create a stressful situation. Guys, when you're in a shoot house, right, in the military, they put you in very stressful situations, right? There's all kinds of stuff going on when the military trains, when they're going down range and they're training live fire exercises. Those are very strenuous situations that they put people in. Right? Pressure situations to see how soldiers can handle, being under pressure and having to execute. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that we do here. They probably sit through a lot of videos, they sit through a lot of classrooms, but they don't get the practical experience. And as a new shooter or even as an experienced shooter, if you don't take the time out to go to the range and train and continuously train, I will tell you right now, you should not be carrying a firearm. You need to practice on when you need to draw that weapon and fire that weapon. And don't leave it up to chance. You should be incredibly proficient with your weapon. Right? I see a lot of videos, and we're going to do a video on this whole press check. Press check, press check, press check. Jesus Christ. How many fucking times do you need to press check the goddamn thing? You should press check it one time. Right? After that, you should know the weapon is loaded. Right? Matter of fact, very rarely do I actually ever press check a weapon. And if somebody gives me a weapon, I'm not press checking it to see if anything is there. I'm going to drop the magazine if it's in there, and I'm going to clear that chamber. So, again, you guys, you've got to be practicing all the time and practicing the right way. A mistake was made, and there's going to be a vacant chair at the Christmas table at the Wright family home this holiday. You know, does the officer feel bad? Absolutely. Absolutely. But she should have been more prepared, right? She should have been more prepared and not leaving it up to chance when she has to make a call. She should have that muscle memory built in. That's really all I've got to say about this. I mean, is it tragic? Yes, it is. It's tragic. You know, police officers, their lives are put in danger a lot, and they've got to make very, very split-second decisions. But if you don't have the training behind it, in 26 years on the force, 26 years on the force, exceptional record from what I understand. But that doesn't excuse the fact that she was not trained properly and did not continuously train. I guarantee you guys, there are guys out there in special operations that can tell you that they may have seen a lot of combat. Doesn't mean when you get back and you get relieved that your training ends. Well, just because you've been put into combat, now you don't train anymore. Those guys are always going through, shoot houses or kill houses, whatever, branch of the military you want to call it, or, there's a lot of other shit that we used to call those things, but they're constantly training. It doesn't mean because you've done it 20 times or 100 times that you're absolutely proficient at it. That's why you continuously train. You train all the time. So if you are a new carrier of a firearm or you new firearms owner and you do plan to carry, guys, don't not go out and get training. I don't do firearms training. I'm not a certified firearms training instructor. The tips that I give you and stuff are from my experiences. I don't run classes and stuff like that, right? I'm a business consultant. I'm a senior vice president of sales for a multi-million-dollar company, responsible for 150 locations and a ton of salespeople. But I still, because I came out of the military, I still love and enjoy my firearms, but I don't not train. I train all the time. Like I said, even if my wife is not home, I sweep the house with my weapon. Right? I go through room clearing just to stay proficient at what I've learned and what I was taught. I do that with my handgun. I do that with my 9mm. I do that with my AR. I go down to the range and practice safely, drawing my weapon, racking my weapon, discharging my weapon. You cannot substitute training. You can't watch 1 million videos. You can't read 1,000 books. If you're not out there actually doing it and going through the motions and creating that muscle memory, you're doing yourself a disservice. So that's my thought. That's my take. It is incredibly tragic. The jury finally came through. She's got a guilty verdict. She's going to be, going to prison for what happened. But she could have eliminated the outcome and the result of what had happened simply by having more training and more effective training and more stress training. Guys, when you have to pull your weapon and use it is not the time you need to figure out when to use it and how to use it. So that's what I've got to say about it. Guys, leave me some comments below. I do read each and every comment. And if you haven't already, smack that subscribe button. And please, please, please give me a thumbs up if you like the videos. And stay tuned. And if you've already been subscribed, hit that bell notification. Every single time I load a new video, you'll be the first to know. Thanks a lot for listening. Appreciate it. Y'all have a great day. And we are in the Christmas season, so Merry Christmas to you all. Thanks so much. I really appreciate your support. Bye-bye.